Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Georgiman and I'm your friendly neighborhood anime and manga fan. I love all things anime and all things manga, and I'm here today to talk about My Dress Up Darling Season 2, Episode 4. So, what do you think about this week's episode? Honestly, I love this week's episode right off the get-go. So, I think that this week's episode once again showcases why this anime adaptation of the source material is so amazing, is because it gives us so much more context, as well as it elevates the source material. It gives us more of an insight of what was going down, especially with the introduction of a new cosplay and the origin of said cosplay from the source material that Marin follows up in the story. So that was really cool. We get the introduction of Rei-sama, which is one of the fan favorite characters in the story, as well as, I'll just say it right from the get-go, this arc that we're about to ensue in the anime is by far, I think, in my opinion, my favorite arc in the story. So a lot of great stuff to see going forward. Now, before I go any further with this episode review, I just want to give us a quick reminder to make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you guys can be up to date with all my anime and manga, as well as all my Dress Up Darling content that I'll be providing in this channel. It really helps out a lot, and I would really appreciate it if you guys could subscribe to my YouTube channel. So if you guys could, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now, with all that out of the way, let's talk about this week's episode. So this week's episode starts off pretty much in an awesome note, which is pretty much the school. They're in class, Marin and Gojo, and we get pretty much the introduction of the basis of the new arc, which is going to be the school festival arc. When it comes to Slice of Lives, this is like the starter pack, and we see that pretty much the teacher's like, okay, well, there's going to be all these things that we got to do. There's going to be a pageant like contest, and then everybody obviously points at Marin's like, hey, you should do it, Marin, you're going to absolutely kill it. And Marin's all ecstatic. She's like, okay, but like, does anybody want to do it? And nobody is like, because she's like, can I do it? Are you guys for sure? And they were like, bro, we're the ones offering you to do it. And she's like, yeah, but I just didn't want to be mean. And like, if somebody else to do it, I wanted to hear them. But as all this is happening, they're telling Marin like, hey, just so you know, you gotta cosplay somebody from the opposite gender, because this is the whole thing with this pageant contest. Girls gotta dress up like guys and guys gotta dress up like girls. So they're like, who are you gonna dress as, Marin? And automatically Marin already knew her answer. She was gonna cosplay as this character called Rei from this one of her anime and mangas that she read and watched. And this is like everybody's seen like the Host Club anime. I forget the name of it. Man, it's been so long, but that old anime, the something Host Club. You guys comment in the comment section down below. I know it's eating me alive. I know that show, but it's like those the Host Clubs, because we're this character, we get to see a lot of their inside of because pretty much we get this whole backstory regarding them. I'm talking about, before I get to that, there's a character in the classroom that he's like crying because he's like, yeah, I watched that show too. And then the girl's like, really? But you're a guy. He's like, yeah, well, my sister had it in the background and it was whatever. And then you see this guy crying as these beautiful scenes are playing in front of him. So that was really funny. Murakami, I think that's the guy's name. So it was pretty fun seeing him. And then as the story continues, we see that a large chunk of the episode actually involves pretty much the backstory of said Rei, the one that Marin keeps hyping up, and who is eventually going to be the next cosplay that she does. And we see this whole thing where pretty much there's this girl, she has like all these romances, it's like a harem, but it's a girl that has like a bunch of guys that want her attention, fighting for her. And we see that pretty much she one day like gives up like a bento box to this character that we get introduced to, and then eventually the big surprise later on is that this character is actually like doing a cross, she's pretending to be a dude because she's doing she's working as a hostess in the side just to get more money. And pretty much she's like all surprised, like, what? But you're like you're the number one host in at that job. And it's just like a funny banter. You see pretty much like typical cliches that are said to be from series like that, like I said, like the so-and-so Host Club. And as the entirety of pretty much this backstory wraps up, we see more introductions to other characters that are great. We see that Marin's like, yeah, she's super awesome. And as Gojo's like watching all this, he like breaks down. My man is crying. He's like, this is cinema. To him, this is like absolute cinema. And he's just like, I was just laughing. I was like, yeah, man, I've been there, man. You watch a Slice of Life or anything like romance-wise, and it gets to those feelings. And yeah, I think we all been there, right? And what goes down after that is pretty much Gojo's like, okay, this is beautiful. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna nail this. And Marin's like, okay, let's do this. We got this. And this is where Gojo's like, okay, well, this is the things I gotta do. I gotta get the measurements ready. I gotta, make sure that your size measurements are fine for this suit, because it's gonna be a 3-piece suit. And as he's like trying to describe everything that's gonna go down, you see that Marin's like, oh yeah, Gojo knows all my measurements, and then she starts blushing, like, and she kind of gets quiet. And it's like, my interpretation of that scene is more like, you know, her being like, wow, like, you know, he knows me, like, he's seen me like fully exposed, like, you know, it's like a sort of intimacy, I guess you could say. Like, she's thinking to herself like, wow, like, you know, we really have, like, you know, gone a little more farther than some people do, you know. I think that she's like, you know, a little bit embarrassed. Not, I wouldn't say embarrassed. I think it's the reality like setting in of like, oh yeah, he does know my measurements. Like, oh wow, like, you know, like, I want to date him. In other words, at least that's what I was thinking. And what we see after that is that pretty much Gojo's like, okay, Marin, so here's the deal. We're gonna make this suit. Yeah, it's gonna be all great. However, there's a big but. And Marin's like, well, what's up? It's like, well, you see, now that I've been assigned to, like, you know, a lot of the interior design and stuff like that for the school festival, and I'm gonna be very busy because obviously I'm doing that, and then after school, you know, I gotta take care of grandpa, as well as, you know, practice my Hina doll making skills, as well as work on the Rei cosplay. So like, it's gonna be very, very hard. I can't just like go out and buy all the things that I need. Can you do this? And he's also telling her like, I'm not really gonna be able to help you out too much with like all of this, because if I were to analyze the time that I actually have way less time than I did during your Shizuku-tan outfit. And this is where Marin like freaks out. She's like, oh no, it's Gigi, like, wrap it up. But Gojo's like, yeah, I'm sorry. I can definitely make it. Don't worry. It's gonna be, you know, it's gonna be a mission, but we'll definitely accomplish it. And Marin's like, yeah, sure. And then Gojo's like, okay, here's a list of all the things I need you to buy. Can you do this, please? Like, you're gonna be on your own for most of it. Like, can you do this? And she's like, yeah, sure. And you see her like freaking out. And this is where pretty much you think it's already like game over. I remember reading this chapter like when the manga like years ago, this chapter, and I was thinking to myself like, oh no, they're screwed. And as this is because Gojo obviously has to fulfill his obligations in the school festival, you know, helping the other students. And as he goes to the room to pretty much go meet with his classmates, the classmates are like, hey Gojo, what are you doing here? Like, you shouldn't be here. And then Gojo's like, oh, like, yeah, you're right. And like, he kind of like, at first it comes off as like, oh, they don't want him here. That's what you think to yourself, like, Gojo's like, oh, you know, they probably think I'm a burden or something. In reality, he's 100% wrong. They're all like, aren't you supposed to be like working on the outfit? And Gojo's like, wait, I thought I'm supposed to help you guys. And then all the classmates is like, no, dude, like, your focus is to maximize on that cosplay and make it the best it can be, and, you know, be there for Marin, because we cannot trust Marin for anything. They're just like, Marin could not do this by herself. We need you, and if it means that we gotta work a little harder, that's fine. We'll do it. We'll pick up the weight for you. Like, we'll be there. Like, we'll just focus on Marin. They kind of like scold him, was like, don't worry about it. We got this. We got this on lock. Because they're like, where is Marin anyway? And Gojo was like, oh, I sent her off to do this by herself. And then they'll like snap at him. It's like, you idiot. No, go get her right now. She is a lost cause by herself. We need you to like carry the team, in other words. So like, go do this. And then they're like, don't worry, we got this. Like, you can do whatever. We might need your help to like lift a couple heavy things every once in a while. But if we don't, like, just focus on making that cosplay. We won't bug you. We're here for you, man. And this was a great moment. You know, Gojo finally having some backup, I guess, in the sense of, you know, he probably thought to himself it was him against the world, like making this, he was going to make this impossible task be possible, but he no longer needs to worry about it, because obviously, you know, these classmates and fellow friends, I would say, of him, you know, they're there for him, and it really showcased just the amount of trust they have in him, and vice versa. You know, Gojo trusts him back, and it's a great opening to seeing Gojo, you know, stop being as shy as he's usually is, and now he starts making new friendships, because these are what his friends eventually will become, you know. And how the episode wraps up, you know, Gojo eventually calls Marin. They go to the cosplay shop, and eventually they're buying the materials, and, you know, it seems like everything's fine and dandy. So yeah, this episode was really great. Great to see extra scenes that were anime original, as well as great to see just pretty much a lot of stuff that I was very excited to see, especially the confrontation with the classmates and Gojo. That's something I've been waiting forever. But yeah, what did you guys think about this week's episode? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys thought it was all right? Whatever you guys thought, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, thank you so much for sticking all the way to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more of my dress up darling, as well as more anime and manga content in the near future. But yeah, with all that being said, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.